What is up, everyone, and welcome to the FemSlam podcast, where we have in-depth analytical conversations about the world of wrestling and our favorite wrestlers. Join us as we passionately dive into the art of wrestling and have detailed discussions while setting aside our fan-based biases. My name is Vio.
I'm Toni.
And we thank you for joining us. Toni, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of time has passed since episode 2.
A lot of time has passed and a lot
has
has
happened.
happened, both like storyline wise for wrestling in both
Yeah.
promotions and then like real life.
Yeah.
We had mentioned in our previous episode, if anybody remembers, it's been over a month at this point. But we had mentioned that we were going to be at Raw and NXT the week that they were at Madison Square Garden. And because of that fact, and considering the Hardy Boys were going to be performing, they had a match against Fraxium at NXT Roadblock at the theater in Madison Square Garden. I thought it would be a great, idea, a great opportunity to have an episode semi-dedicated to the Hardys because we finally have them involved with the WWE again in some capacity. They've been showing up very frequently, and I thought it would also be a great idea to have our very special guest for this episode, a member of our overall FemSlam podcast, but an OG in Miss Clarissa Hardy.
Yay!
Clarissa is a huge Hardy Boys fan, especially Jeff. And so, Clarissa, I wanted to give you the chance to really dive into your journey as a Hardy's fan over the years and how you're feeling now that, they're on the run they're currently having in TNA, they're getting involved with WWE again, and it looks pretty likely that they eventually will retire with the WWE.
So you mentioned my last name, which is Hardy. So literally the Hardy Boys have been my life for my entire life. My whole family watched them, and because I was the only cousin that had the Hardy last name, I got a lot of jokes cracked, and I was called, like, even being called Lita, and just like little crazy things that my older cousins would do to torment me because I was the only cousin that had our family last name. But when I tell you, they are probably one of the first tag teams I can remember seeing, like, and remembering, and it sticking in my head because they were just so different from what I was used to. Like, just a little girl from South Memphis, very hood, very ghetto, very not completely opposite of what Matt and Jeff are aesthetic wise. And so you see these guys in all of these ripped clothings and fishnets, and Jeff had all the crazy colors and the painted nails, and it's like, what is this? And then they get in the ring and do all these amazing things, and Jeff almost killing himself week after week after week after week. And it started to become something that I was, while it puts me on edge, I'll tell you that, like, regardless of how many times I see him do it, anytime Jeff is on top of the ladder, my nerves get bad. I'm scared, I'm nervous, I hate it, but I love it. And so it became something that was very entertaining, and that it pulled me in wrestling in ways that other people didn't. As of now, I'm just really, really proud of them, especially Jeff, because he's overcome a lot of his own personal demons. So to see them back, especially with the way Jeff was forced to leave this last time, this most recent time, to see them back in any capacity is quite nostalgic. And now that I've always wanted the retirement to happen here in WWE. I thought it was important that they finish where they started. And so now that that opportunity is back on the table with all these new tag teams and even older tag teams from other companies, I think this is the perfect time for the Hardys to be in WWE. Like, you have God and the Hardy Boys under the same promotion. I need that match before they hang it up. Like, I need it. Like, Motor City Machine Guns are over there. You have DIY, who is a pain in my butt right now, but it's still going to be a good match. you have all these tag teams that we haven't really seen them cross paths with, or it's been so long since they've crossed paths with. I'm excited. I'm excited. Like let's hurry this up. I don't care what else we do with the NXT TNA thing. Let me see the Hardys on the main roster with the main roster folks, because the tag team division desperately needs something shaken up.
So Vio,
Yeah.
our and I will start with NXT because one, we cover NXT, and two, I feel like there's a bit more complex like emotions in regarding the NXT
Yeah.
show that we went to.
Yeah.
Um, we had a lot of fun, and the crowd was great. It was a great setting. The show was very hit or miss because of the amphitheater, the way that the venue was set up.
Yeah, it was not meant for a
We
wrestling show.
had a lot of trouble seeing most of the show because unfortunately when whenever the crowd would collectively stand up during most of the matches, which if you've ever been to a wrestling show, that happens consistently. You're probably standing at a wrestling show more than you're sitting. Anytime the crowd collectively would stand, we couldn't see anything, especially because me and Vio are
We are
on
tiny.
the on
We are
the
tiny.
petite side.
Still.
That's the nice way of putting it.
Um, so we did. That was the first time me and Vio got the chance to see the Hardys live. Very grateful for that.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't recall most of the match. Unfortunately, I want to get your perspective. Like, if you saw anything, you caught anything. What was the highlight for you as far as the Hardys and being there, atmosphere wise? So
So I do get like what Clarissa says. Like every time Jeff got somewhere up high, I was like, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die. He didn't, thank God. But like every time he got up on that top turnbuckle, I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But then he did it, and it was cool. So I was like, it is an experience. I don't want to say it was a good or a bad experience. It is just simply an experience to see the Hardy Boys wrestle,
yeah,
just in general. Like, and I'm glad that they put Fraxium on them. I'm glad that Fraxium was the one that was trusted to be their, I guess, kind of sort of debut match on NXT, because I feel like the Hardy Boys and Fraxium kind of have similar styles of wrestling, that they're both kind of high flyers and things like that. So it was definitely, they blended well together. And I would like to see more matches between them. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, even if there's no titles on the line, I think those four put on like very interesting matches. But yeah, that NXT show was definitely it was time of my life, best birthday present I think I've ever gotten in all my years of being alive. And yeah, seeing the Hardy Boys wrestle is a treat, and I would love to be able to do it again.
yeah, we probably will at least one more time. But yeah, that's I think the biggest thing that saved the show for us is the energy that the Hardys bring wherever they go, especially with the legacy that they have and the fact that for a lot of people, the Hardys, especially Jeff, were one of those, talents that we it was really up in the air whether or not
Hmm.
they were going to get this chance to end off their career in the right way. So the fact that we're getting this and things seem to be going very well
Yeah.
is great. And so you can see and feel that energy in that crowd that everybody
Hmm.
there
Because when
was
I tell
happy.
you, when the Hardy Boys music hit,
Yeah.
that entire place exploded.
Before
Mm-hmm.
the show even started, the crowd was hot. We were getting Brother
Hmm.
Nero chants.
Yep.
People were doing the delete, delete,
Mm-hmm.
delete, like
It was so good.
well before the show even started. Like the energy was there. When we were standing outside the garden before going in, where we had met people the day before for Raw, which we'll get into that a little bit later, but we had gone back to the garden to try and do that again, but with NXT people. And the amount of people that were there and they kept saying, I'm just standing here to see if we catch the Hardys going in. Like, they didn't
Same.
care about anybody else. People just wanted to catch the Hardys, bro.
Hey, I mean, I get it. I get it. I mean, y'all know this. I went to my very first TNA show just because the Hardys were scheduled to be there. I looked up the day before, saw that it was randomly there. It was like, oh, the Hardys in a tag team match. Well, I've never seen them live. I'm going. So went all out the way, and I'm like, okay, where's my boys? Like, I love all of this. Enjoyed the whole show as a whole, but like, it's like y'all said, seeing Matt and Jeff live is just an entirely different experience. It's even again, like y'all from the beginning, people are just Hardys. All of these chants to get to them, and the second that music hit, which I'm so glad that they still have that exact same music because it's just so iconic at this point. The second the first beat drops, everyone's losing their shit. Everyone's on their feet. Everyone's just yelling, and then the entire time they're going, you just want it. I don't care if the match goes fast, if it goes slow, if you can tell that they're a little older. I don't care because the fact that they can still even do half the things that they've done in their 20s now with all the trauma their bodies have felt, like, it's still amazing. So I would stand in the cold, raining snow if I needed to. If that was how I got to talk to Matt and Jeff, I'll do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, it was
So,
crazy seeing Jeff still being able to hit a swanton bomb in person. I was like,
yeah, he moves pretty, like,
yeah.
to me, I mean, Vio, you can, I guess, maybe attest to this based on what you remember from his brief run in AEW. I feel
Hmm.
like he's moving even better now than he was
Oh
in
yeah,
AEW.
100%, 100%. Because if, and this is no shade to AEW, but I feel like Jeff likes being over in WWE more. This is where him and Matt belong. You know.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe because of the fact that his heart wasn't as into it over in AEW, and he was still having, his own personal issues and stuff, you weren't able to see him at his best. And now that things have changed and he's in a much better space mentally and physically, and he's in the place where him and his brother really wanted to end their careers. You're seeing that through the way that they're performing, the way that they're moving, because like Curtis has said, they're doing some stuff that you would never believe they're still able to do, and they're shocking a lot of people. Like that first match they had on NXT, a lot of people were like, "Oh, they're moving pretty fast." Like, they're still, cuz a lot of people were looking at that AEW run and thinking that, these are two guys who they're still going, but they need to hang it up. And it was a pleasant surprise for a lot of people, like, "Oh no, they still have something to offer." And so for both of you guys, I know Clarissa named off some tag teams for them to face that she would personally like to see going forward. What do y'all hope for them for the future in TNA and WWE, as far as not only as a team but individually? Are there any particular feuds or anything you're hoping we see or call back to? Are you hoping that they, spend their run either running it back with certain people or sticking to working with new people, because WWE has a lot of amazing new and younger talent that it would be a lot that they have the chance to have a lot of first time dream matches, if you will.
I would like a mix. I want a mix because, like you said, like I mentioned, God is right there.
Yup.
They have dominated
Yup.
the tag division internationally, and now they get the chance to do it on the grandest stage of all. So seeing God and the Hardys in WWE, 100% I want it, but I also need just one last Hardys versus Usos feud because those are my two all-time favorite tag teams. So if I could get just one feud before they both hang it up completely, I'm good. And I would also just like one last championship run for them in WWE because with everything that they've given, with everything that they've done, and the fact that they can come back home on a good note, like they're welcome back in with everything that's happened with them in the past. I just would like to see them have one last run where they just, they don't have to run through anybody. They don't have to hold the titles long. I just want to see new and old feuds come back up and have them just back to that almost old glory, kind of, just to see the Hardy Boys in their final run as a whole, but it actually be compelling stories, great fights. I don't want to see them and just because it's happening right now, like DIY every single week doing the exact same thing. That's not what I want. I want to see, if they're going to do with DIY, I want to see a good story behind it. I want to see it playing out over the weeks to come before it finally comes to the big match or the trilogy or something like that. Like, I just want it to be exactly what they deserve so they go out on a high note and they can look back and say, okay, we've done everything we needed to do. We can take our bow and just go chill. And then if they want to come back and pull like an Undertaker and pop up every other year or something, then that's cool. But like, just one last good run with both some of these new teams and some of the old ones. Like, because I wouldn't mind New Day. Like, wouldn't mind New Day. But I mean, I also, if they would actually do something like Dominic Mysterio and whoever he picks in Judgment Day, I genuinely wouldn't mind seeing them with anyone on the tag team roster, both main roster and NXT. Just give me the Hardy Boys versus anybody, and I'll take it.
Yeah, I agree with Clarissa. I would like to see a mix of kind of new and old, because I know I mentioned them running it back with Fraxium again because they do blend well. But yeah, a mix of some new feuds, some old feuds. Like, I don't know why it popped in my head, but like Jeff Hardy versus Seth Rollins would be so
I
crazy.
had that. I literally had that in my
Ooh, take my
brain.
money. Take
I
my
had
money
It'd
that in
right
my
be
now.
brain.
so crazy because
Mm-hmm.
those two both keep trying to kill them damn selves every time they get in the
With
ring. So it's just
with
like, oh.
for me personally, a heel, full fledged heel Seth
Yes, a
Rollins.
heel
Mm-hmm.
Seth
Mm-hmm.
Rollins versus babyface Jeff Hardy. Give it to me now.
I'll pay whatever you want. You know what? I'll
Honestly.
even take Punk and Jeff again. It's gonna hurt, but I'll even take that.
See, the thing is, do we want the same dynamic as far as like another feud where heel Punk, babyface Jeff, or do we want to do something a bit different? Roles reversed. Would that
Let's
even be
switch it.
possible? Because Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy. I know CM Punk is CM Punk, but I think Jeff Hardy is one of those rare air talents that
Mm-hmm.
if
He's
anybody's
he
gonna
was
get the crowd to turn on Punk, it's a returning Jeff Hardy, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I would only like to see Jeff as the heel just because, like, I want him to make Punk's life hell. And don't get me wrong, like, Punk is really good at doing it to other people. He's
Oh yeah.
really good at doing it, and he's really good at dealing with it. But because of everything Punk said in their original feud, Jeff can kind of come back on some, yeah, you said all that, but I'm still here. Yeah, I may have had all those moments, but I'm still here and I'm still fighting and I'm still coming for you
Yep.
because I got to get my get back from back then. And while, so if John Cena can be healed, Jeff can be healed. Like,
It's true.
if John has shown us that people can switch it up, and like, I mean, we all were waiting for John to be healed for the last 10 years or so. But I do think that it may not necessarily be a typical heel thing in Jeff. It may be more of like a justified heel or more tweener-ish Jeff, or a tweener Jeff versus a tweener Punk, which I think will probably be the almost a perfect mix because then they can both just talk shit to each other the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, nobody has to be the good guy. There's not a good guy here. This is just old war wounds.
Mm.
I don't know, but like I'm more mature now, so I'm prepared for whatever Punk has to say about Jeff, and it won't hurt my feelings. Like, I'm prepared, I'm here. So I don't know, like, but I will say I'm more with Jeff and Seth though. Jeff and Seth
Yeah.
is the money, right? That's the money.
It is
I
like
feel like Jeff and Seth can mirror the the Punk and Jeff feud in a way, especially because, and people say this all the time, a lot of Seth's career mirrors Punk's, especially in his stages. Like that Messiah gimmick he had,
I love it.
very similar to the straight edge society
Yeah.
gimmick that Punk had, with the whole like put your hand on the screen
Mhm.
and saying his own like twisted versions of different prayers and stuff like that. Like that could be something that, if we don't get a Punk and Jeff again, I'm satisfied with Jeff and Seth. Not only because on their own right that would be great, but they could also do a similar dynamic, um, with somebody who matches Jeff's in ring style a bit more than Punk does, especially Punk at this current stage in his career. But yeah, Vio, that's like, I literally, like, if you hadn't said that, that's the one that I was gonna say. So I guess tag team wise, hmm, I do want to. I mean, do I think Street Profits are gonna be champ by the time they come in? I don't know, but I would love to see the
That would be
Hardys and
good.
the Street Profits, the War Raiders, because the War Raiders are two
Ooh.
men that move in a way that I really cannot believe. Like, they should not be able to move like that.
No.
And I feel like that, almost like a sleeper. Like, people wouldn't expect that match to be as good and as crazy and as technical as it could end up being. So that's, yeah, like, I that run that Ivar was on previous to him getting injured, when Eric was injured and out, that singles run that Ivar was on, he was putting on some fantastic with people like Ricochet. That's two totally different styles and body types, and it's working. So anything.
Ivar is just unbelievable though.
He
Like,
really
Yeah.
and
is. I
don't
was
get me
about to
wrong,
say.
I love them both, but you just do not expect a man like that looks like Ivar to do the things that he does. Like, seeing him live was such a treat, because it's, you see him in the ring all the time and you're like, oh, but seeing it in person, you're like, oh, he's really like that. And so, because they can both do that, I think they can keep up with the Hardys in a way that people don't expect the War Raiders to do. Like,
I don't
you
even
see
think
these
the
two
Hardys
big,
themselves would expect it, which would be
like,
crazy.
it would take them off guard, like,
A bit.
just a tiny bit. Like, I there's so many possibilities here with the Hardys being back that
Hmm.
it's hard to just pinpoint, like, I want this one thing, because there's so many possibilities, because there's so many teams, new and old, that we even haven't seen them with in a very long time. Like I mentioned with the Usos, it's been years. They don't know this new version of the Usos, and the Usos don't know who the Hardys are today. But then you have teams that they've never touched, who they don't know these people. They've never been in the ring across from them, and so it puts them to the test. Like, are you truly the tag team that we say y'all are? Can you get in this ring and create magic with anybody? The answer is yes. Don't ever question it. But I think I would be glad to see them just prove this point for the final time.
And Ivar, and I'll give credit to Ricochet as well, but for I went to the Raw before Mania last year at the Barclays Center, and one of the singles matches that was on the card was Ricochet and Ivar. And mind you, like, those are two people that, especially at that time, like, they came out, they didn't really get much of a pop. The crowd in its, the initial, starting moments of the match weren't really into it. By the end of the match, the crowd was incredibly invested, like doing the clapping, reacting to everything, the holy shit chants. Like, Ivar especially, and I'm not highlighting Ricochet because obviously Ricochet is elsewhere now, but Ivar is one of those talents that has the ability to really, like, grab the attention, demand the attention of a live audience, regardless of whether they cared about him when he first, came out or not. By the end of the match, you're invested in Ivar and what he's doing. And so obviously that's going to be the case no matter what for the Hardys. That's why I think that dynamic can work really well. But I do need, and especially for Vio, I need Fraxium and the Hardys again on the main roster or even on a PLE. That's a PLE match. With a stipulation this time. I know, Clarissa, your heart gonna be in your ass.
Put them boys in a
half the
cage.
time,
Hey,
but
give
put
it
a
to me.
stipulation. That's a Mania match
Look,
with a
honestly,
stipulation.
give me a
Them
TLC
boys
match.
in a steel cage.
Give me a TLC match. We do not get
Oh,
TLC
That's a lost
matches.
art.
You said we do not get why. Who better than to bring it back than the true Godfathers? Because those three tag teams: the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge, and Christian, that made TLC matches exactly as important as they are.
Yep.
And these newcomers, which I'm saying very, very lightly, because Fraxium, they're those guys. Like, I love them. I haven't seen them as much as y'all, but I have loved the little bit that I've seen, and that's why I promise I'm gonna watch more NXT. I promise I am. But like, who better to bring those types of matches back than those two teams? Like, if anybody is gonna do it, it might be best if we see it from those two, because you're gonna get the
some
regular
crazy
matches
spots.
we're getting are good. They're great. But when you add all of these dangerous moves and them keeping up with the Hardys,
I have a question though. Clarissa, are we prepared to see Jeff Hardy now on a ladder again?
I will be drinking during that.
That's why I said, like, I want it. I'm so sorry, Clarissa. Like, heart's gonna be in your ass at least like 10 times during the match. But I need it. At this point, market that to bring the event itself back. That is
Please.
the pay-per-view, PLE, whatever, that
Please.
I miss the most. I hate that December doesn't have
Nothing.
a PLE anymore. I hate it. And that was one of my favorites of the year. And I loved the way the set used to be by the entrance, where you got ladders and chairs and tables stacked all the way from the ceiling down to the. It's truly a lost art.
It
and I
is.
think if anybody was to bring the feeling back for that, it's the Hardys. Put them on the poster for the damn thing. Just bring it back.
The way that show will sell out like this.
I would pay to go to it, and the whole time I would be just sitting there. I wouldn't even make a noise
Sitting
during
there
the
chewing
whole
your
match.
fingernails, legs
just sitting there
shaking.
nervous as hell, because after the match I would be able to go back and watch it and fully enjoy it. But the whole time, even with Matt, he might not do as much dangerous stuff, but he's still in that same area with Jeff. Like, respectfully, y'all are getting old. Y'all put your bodies through a lot back then. So to put your body through it now, like, it's going to take you a minute to recover. However, if they are willing to do it,
which they are,
I will take it. I will take it. Like Toni said, it is really a lost art. We do not see. And like, Bad Blood is cool. It's cool. But there's something about Extreme Rules types of matches that are true. That's the true Bad Blood. Like, that's the worst of the worst feuds of the year could happen at TLC, Extreme Rules, whichever one you want to do, in December to finish out the year before we start over in January or February with Royal Rumble. Like, please. Something.
Like, Saturday night main event, it is not enough for December.
No. It's not enough in itself.
It's not.
It's a glorified house show. Like, let's be real.
It's honestly, it's a glorified, like, just paid promotion, honestly, for NBC. That's what it is. Do I hope that, it changes over time and important things end up happening on those shows to make them worth tuning in? I don't know. I really don't.
That reaction is so real.
for Bad Blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
I fear if that's going to be a thing that we bring back, I need more. You had for that show really like one really like Bad Blood worthy feud
Mm-hmm.
that had a match that lived up to the Bad Blood
Mm-hmm.
name, the legacy of that show. The rest of the card did not give Bad Blood. So if we're gonna do that again this year or next year, I need more effort to be put into
Mm-hmm.
making sure that the event is worthy of the name.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, keep it in the vault.
Agreed. If because I'm still disappointed about that Liv and Rhea, and I'm not gonna touch too much on it because we know how they folks be.
Mm-hmm.
That match was actually not the match itself. The potential of that match was
It was so
worthy of
good.
Bad Blood.
Mm-hmm.
The story that the two of them truly have going back to Live for Brutality is worthy of Bad Blood. And all they wanted to talk about was Dom. No. I no. If we're gonna
Speaking
do
of which,
Bad
at the
Blood,
time we're
I
recording this, it is Dom's birthday. So happy birthday, Dom.
Happy birthday,
Oops.
Dom.
Hi Dom. Happy birthday. But like,
He
yeah,
ain't gonna see it. We
you know,
alright.
I mean, you never know. He might. We might tag him. But either way, it's like you said, I want to see blood. I want to see gore. I want to see violence. If we're talking
Yes.
Bad Blood, these are rivalries. These aren't even just feuds. This is your rival. This is your biggest op. This is I'm taking you out one way or another, even if I have to take myself with you.
Exactly.
That's the level of hate that I need in Bad Blood. And the only one that really gave us that was Punk and Drew. So yeah, like Tony put it up. Let's do away with it. If we're not gonna do it right, we can just replace it with TLC.
Exactly.
You know, give us what we want.
Speaking of NXT and Clarissa's efforts to get more into it, I want to talk about Ricky Saints because Clarissa is being introduced to
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Stark, formerly Ricky Starks, now known as Ricky Saints, through NXT. Now, me
Mm-hmm.
and Vio have been following Ricky for quite some time. We are huge fans of his, but I want Clarissa's perspective on, like what are your first impressions of Ricky? How are you feeling with this current NXT run? Are you on the hype train? Like, how are you feeling, especially after his uh, win on Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Saints is now our new NXT North American champion.
Hallelujah. Praise God. Anyway.
Okay, so when he first popped up, when he was just in the crowd and he did I was like, "What's up with you, dog? Like, what are you doing? What's happening here?" But I had to understand that he's just a theatrical type of person. He's very entertaining. I get it. I get the hype. I get the hype. I enjoy watching him talk. I enjoy watching him in the ring. I'm sitting here in the ring like, I was missing this. Y'all let me miss this for so long. Like, what's going on? And I can say that about a lot of the new talent that NXT is getting, or such, or WWE as a whole with Penta and Ray Phoenix. Like all of this talent that I am missing because I don't watch anything other than really Raw and SmackDown for the most part. I was wrong. I am really I'm really ready to see what they do with Ricky throughout this title run. I don't think there's a thing of making or breaking him at this point. Like Ricky is exactly who Ricky says he is. He's that guy. He'll come up to the main roster when it's time and dominate. There's no doubt in my mind. But I believe it looks like it's him and maybe Ethan. Vio, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it is.
About to do their little dance, little dancey dance next.
Mm-hmm.
It's Vio's reaction. I'm interested. Even with Ethan, he was new to me when he came into NXT. I'd never seen Ethan Page a day in my life. I didn't know that man. I'm so sorry to him, but I'm interested. I'm intrigued because I mean, NXT almost does have the better shows consistently. I'm sorry. These matches don't miss. The
They
matches
don't.
don't miss there. Now, I'm sure there's some, and I just don't know about them. But the ones that I know of with the people who I'm trying to pay attention to more, like Ricky, like Ethan, I'm ready to see what they do with him. I truly am intrigued by the whole thing. Like I just like him so much. He's just so
He's
diva. I don't
fun.
know. Like
He's a great
he like
time. You're
he's
gonna
a
have fun.
like. What do you mean? He's just like. What are you doing?
That's the blessings.
I love it. It's just like, what are you doing? You're just so adorable. I love it. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, you're gonna have a fun time with Ricky
Mm-hmm.
Tanks. He is very theatrical. He's very, loud and proud. Like you're gonna have such a great time with him. You are going to
I
love
can
him if
tell.
you
I
don't
can tell.
already.
I'm close. I'm close. Like I still, like I said, I gotta stay in my NXT bag because what happens is I come home on Tuesdays and I just fall into bed. And then I'll look up and I'll be like, oh, it's 7:48. I didn't miss the whole first half hour. And I hate coming into a show after you miss the beginning because then it feels like you missed something. Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't flow the same way. And so I'm gonna have to like set an alarm on my phone that's like turn on NXT right now so that I can stay on top of it.
It's understandable because it's like for me and Vio, especially because we have to cover
Mm-hmm.
Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW. It's like there's something every day. Especially if you want to add TNA, that's
The whole week is
Monday,
all wrestling.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then if one of them got a PLE for WWE, those are Saturdays, pay-per-views for AEW, those are Sunday. It's a it's a lot.
The whole week, all wrestling.
Honestly, being a wrestling fan can be it feels like a job. And it's
It
different for us
does.
because we do the podcasting, so we have the live tweeting, so it almost is. But just being a fan itself, even if you weren't doing content stuff, it's almost a job. You have to clock in. You
Because
gotta
God
see what
forbid you miss a show.
you miss a show, something go left, somebody pops up, and then you're like, oh my God, I missed this. Now you gotta try to catch up. And honestly, sometimes a rewatch doesn't hit the same as seeing
Mm-mm.
it live, especially if you knew somebody returned. Like, I'll admit, when Roman returned SummerSlam 2020, I didn't see it live. And I will forever regret that moment. Like, what do you mean I missed that? Because I had clocked out. But it everybody is like blowing me up, like, hey, Roman's back. And then I see it and I'm like, it took away that surprise of him like popping out. Cause the whole time I'm sitting there like,
Where are you?
where are yeah. And so I like the surprise of watching live. And I don't know, especially if it's like, sorry, Tony, when Drew popped up with Punk and he was just all bloody and just like it's that feeling in the moment. It's like the anticipation, I don't know. It's just watching wrestling live is just a whole different thing than like watching something back.
Yeah.
But man, if it can't get tiring sometimes.
Ugh.
But we do what we love for the love of the game.
But man,
But man.
It's crazy to think about because like even with all that we consume, and it's a lot, at least like for our team,
Mm-hmm.
there's still so much out there that we don't. There's dozens of promotions.
Mm-hmm.
New Japan,
And
Stardom.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I try to, I know Vio as well, like keep track of certain things, especially if there's certain matches. Like if Mercedes is going to do something at Stardom or Kenny is going to do something New Japan, we try to tune in for those things, especially like the Kenny's match with Gabe Kidd in New Japan. Like that
Fighting to keep
started
my eyes
that
open.
started at almost 1 a.m.
I
and
was fighting to
we were
stay
like
awake.
we were in the Discord, like so sometimes it's
It's
a,
a lot.
a chore. um so but we we chose this life.
We chose this life. We did.
What did we choose this life though?
It
Did
chose
we?
us. We chose it.
I think this
Somehow we
life
got
chose
here.
me, and I'm just here
It
suffering.
chose me.
Cause
I
like,
can't say I chose it.
Because the thing is, it leaves for a bit and then it
mhm.
comes back, and so it's like,
Well, I guess I did choose it. You're right. You're
yeah,
right. Because I definitely I'll take a break real quick. The only reason I haven't went on break is y'all. I would have been took a break for at least a moment last year. I would have took at least 2 months off and came back and was like, all right, let's get back to it. But I guess you have a
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, to Clarissa's point about things not hitting the same when you miss it live,
Mm-hmm.
I'll reveal something that I ain't never revealed to anybody. Punk showing up in AEW for the first time, missed it. I knew the entire time leading up that there were rumors. However, the last thing that I wanted was to believe them for the billionth time, turn on the show, and no Punk. Because that would have been yet another devastating thing. And I just was like, I, I didn't want to do it again. I did not want to do it again. So all of a sudden, after the 8 o'clock hour hits and he comes out at the beginning of the show, and I start to see like everything on social media blow up, and I'm getting messages and stuff, and then I'm like, oh shit, like, and then I go back and I watched it. I still had my moment and enjoyed it, but it didn't have that.
Doesn't pack the same punch.
No.
But
I
that
had
was
the same
because
thing
I
happen
was
with
trying
Mox coming
to,
back this time around.
yeah, I was
Because I be
trying to
turning on
protect
AEW like
myself.
crazy. I turned on AEW like, oh, this is a show. And then the one time I didn't, Megs was in my DMs being like, your man's back. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, what you mean?
But yeah, that was a moment that I missed out of trying to protect myself and my
Yeah.
emotions. Like, people talk about that clip resurfaced the other day of when shortly after he left they hit Punk's music and Paul came out instead. I remember that as a child. That hurt. That had made the process of getting over the departure worse, because then it was like, oh, he's back. Oh no, he's not. And like that made it, mind you, I'm like what, 11, 12,
Yeah.
and so my brain at that time is not grasping the fact that wrestling is wrestling for us, but it's a job for them. There's backstage stuff, there's stuff with, health wise, or things, disagreements with contracts, and problems with the boss, and like the child was not going to grasp all of that. All I'm understanding is that my favorite wrestler all of a sudden is gone, and like I don't know that they're not on my TV anymore. They're not on my TV anymore, and I don't get it. Like I don't have an explanation. I'm not grasping all the real life stuff that factored into that. And so me missing that moment 7 years later was me trying to protect my peace. And so,
Yeah.
but even yesterday, I almost missed the show yesterday because I really wasn't feeling it. I was not
Me
feeling
neither.
it. And I was
Me
like,
neither.
they in Chicago, but they're going to go on last, and the show's 3 hours, and I really don't want to do this. And then I got the report that Punk going to open up the show all of a sudden, the one day that I'm planning on missing it. I was like, oh, okay.
Always the one time you
But
planning on like,
see, but
maybe I don't
then,
need to
right, I
tune
was
in.
like, oh, so they're getting it out of the way in the first hour. Great. And then they did the thing of like, he gonna come back out later. And I was like, oh, now I gotta sit here for 3 hours.
It's always the shows you like, man, maybe I don't need to tune in. And then crazy things happen. It's like, well, because
Hmm.
this is the way I was going to skip it too. And then I saw Punk was opening. And then I also remembered that we had the Ray Phoenix debut. And I was like, well, shit. Now I got to watch it. And then the promo we shall not talk about also happened.
Yeah, I almost left.
That's why I
I
said we ain't
go.
going to talk about it. I'm just saying that happened.
Oh, I mean, I could have missed SmackDown in its entirety, except for that last 12,
Yeah.
almost 20 minutes.
I can't wait till the live tomorrow, because like I gotta jump. I gotta become a defense attorney, because everybody like, and I get it, I do, but at the same time, there's a perspective that like I some people are missing, and I can't.
Oh, I
I can't.
can't wait to hear.
But that's for tomorrow.
That's for a different time. We got to get back on the topics we had.
But
We were talking about seeing matches live.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which
we
is
did talk about
great.
me and Tony going to NXT. We also went to the Raw before that, which couldn't have picked a better first Raw for me personally. Because what you mean? I got CM Punk and Seth Rollins in a steel cage for my main event.
Not just your first Raw, that was your first
My
live
first
wrestling
live
event.
show ever.
That that if I could have flew to New York to be with you, I swear to God, I would have. That was probably. How did you feel? Like just
You
watching
saw
all
the
of this.
pictures. Tony got Tony's head in hands like this. Me and Tony
The,
holding each other.
And
the
see, I didn't know if
pictures.
that was because of the match, because or if
See,
it was just seeing them as a whole,
It was
or
the match.
I wonder if I could get some of these because like the pictures were in stages. So the
stages of
The
grief.
first one was Tony being head in hands like this.
Saw that one.
the head in the like head down, and then there was the one where I'm like this, like at the because the beginning of the match for Punk, spooky.
He
Real
was
Spooky.
climbing up there. We were like, "Don't do it! Don't do
that
it!
the
Don't do
thing
it!"
where like Seth was throwing him into
Oh
the like
yeah,
cage, and then he would like fall through the cage and the ropes, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
oh
Tony
my
was going
god.
through it. Mind you, I was also wearing this
Mm-hmm,
when
mm-hmm.
we went.
Yeah, that I just oh, I'm trying to put into words the I definitely went through several different stages of
Mm-hmm.
emotion. Like, okay, so
We both
this
did.
was the beginning of the match. I don't know. Let me
Turn
see
your
if I
brightness
can
out just a little bit.
Oh
Oh.
Lord, technical difficulties, y'all.
Yeah, Tony was stressing.
Oh yeah, that stress.
That was the
Oh
beginning of the
no.
match. This is when those fools were on the top of the cage for no reason.
I think me and
I
Ember had like tears in our eyes.
I
love
tweeted, I
how
was
took
like,
pictures through it. Like this is what's
oh,
happening.
I tweeted out and I was like, are you fucking crazy? Get down. Like,
We were literally screaming at them. They couldn't hear us, but we're like, "Get down from there! Get down!"
yeah, like, I don't know if it registered on TV, but there were multiple people in the crowd, like, get down. I think
I
that
mean,
was the first
I
time.
said that at home too.
I think that was the first time, like, and the only time in the match where I actively cheered for Seth to get up to go stop him because I thought he was like gonna try to do like the exit the cage thing, but then he stood up on
Yeah, he
top.
looked ready
I'm
to
like,
jump, and we were like,
Mm-hmm.
"No."
Mm-mm.
I'm like,
Mm-mm.
you got no business up there, sir. I don't know what you're doing. You're not 30 anymore. I'm so sorry. Like
Like,
Seth,
ooh,
you
it
gotta
was
get up.
spooky.
But then Seth suplexed him from the top of
It was
Oh.
bad.
Yeah, y'all were
um
stressed, huh?
and
Mm-hmm.
then this was when Roman and shout out Ember really brings this picture together perfectly. But this was when Roman came out and then attacked Seth and then attacked Punk. And so this is me mourning the Punk like laws and the stuff with Paul Heyman and everything, plus Vio mourning the last remnants of the Shield at the same time.
Hmm.
Ember was just having a ball, but that
Clearly, at
Ember
least
was
somebody
having a
was
time at
enjoying
our
themselves.
expense.
with the way the tweets were coming in, and I kept getting tagged like, "Oh my gosh, are you alive?" Or like Haley was
No,
like, "I hope they're recording you right now." And I'm like,
no, we
"You're
were
getting
not.
enough out of me." But on top of that, it's the fact that I already was feeling not great and faint because those shows, every time I go, regardless of what I'm wearing, regardless of what time of year it is, it's hot in there.
It is.
It's hot. There's a lot of people, lights, smoke. And then by the time it's like you reach the 10 o'clock hour and you've been sitting there for forever, expelling all this energy, I feel a little bit rough. Head was pounding a little bit. And so that match and what transpired on top of that, that was a lot.
Yeah. This is
Um,
the way Tony and Ember were like checked out halfway through. Like Cody came out right, and they were playing a song for a good like 5-10 minutes. Tony and Ember checked out after like the first 2 or 3 woes.
yeah,
I'm
but
still singing.
because they went to commercial after he came out, so they kept playing the song, and I was like, by the third woe, I was like I can't do it anymore. And I was doing it for the sake of just like vibing with the crowd, because y'all know I'm not particularly a Cody shooter. I'm
Nope.
not. But I was there and I was live and I'm like, you know what? Well, but by the third one, I was like, all right,
Wrap it
I'm
up.
let's go. And the
I
promo
kept
wasn't
going the whole
even.
time.
You had the energy that I couldn't believe. I could not believe the energy that you had for both days. Because honestly speaking, halfway through the first day, I was done for the week.
It was my first live show, and then NXT was my birthday show. Of course, I'm going to be hyped up. Like
you were standing and everything, and me and Ember were sitting down like.
Yeah, they were done. They were out.
Like, we're waiting online. I'm like checking tickets. I'm talking with people, and Vio every 2 seconds is like vocal stimming. Which, by the way, I don't think I ever want to hear Zack Ryder's theme song again.
Vio?
Every 2 seconds,
It was
you
just
hear it coming from Vio.
radio.
Oh, radio. And it got to a point where I would like slowly turn my head at him, and he'd be like,
"Oops."
oh my God, no.
It was bad. It was real bad.
But the show overall, when I think about it, for Raw, the card, the card was fantastic. It was like the opposite. The viewing experience for Raw was great. We had a great view. The show was The show for NXT was stacked. Phenomenal. If you were watching that at home, you had a ball. Live in attendance, it was a bit rocky.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remembered that we had to see Logan Paul live when we went to Raw.
Same.
That deflated me.
Very depressing thing. Very depressing.
Who
told
yeah,
them
you
we
went to
wanted
Raw too, didn't you, Mama?
We did. Don't ask me nothing about nothing, because all I remember is Jey Uso, CM Punk, and then Naomi and Bianca. That's it. That was my show. That was my show. But ours was not that hot. I've never really been hot in the arena. And please understand that I'm usually under the influence in said arenas. Hey, I like pretty drinks, okay? And we have slushy. We have a blue raspberry slushy down there, and I'm gonna get it every time. But you had Jey Uso yeeting, which took all of my breath away, because that's a long
it's
time.
A workout.
I'm tired. Logan Paul just could have stayed away. It was not necessary. It was not needed. And I got to hear CM Punk's entrance for the first time. That was my very first time ever seeing CM Punk.
It's so fun.
It is. And especially because, it's been a long road for me and CM Punk's relationship. We're finally on the same team. Even with whatever him and Roman
Toni,
got on.
you're
muted, love.
Toni, you're muted.
I'm saying, I've been working so hard for this.
Where's the gift of that lady being like, I planned this?
Yeah.
Toni has been planning this since the first time I got on there and said, yeah, I'm a CM Punk hater. Toni was like, what? Even Aisha did the same.
Record scratch.
I think if you were to go, because I remember you posted a TikTok. This was before anybody spoke to anybody. You popped up on my For You page. If you were to go to that video, I'm probably in the comment section.
I'll have to check. I will check, because I know that video got Aisha on my phone, and she was like, what the do you mean you're a CM Punk hater? What do you mean? And I was like, in that video, I said that I was starting to like him, though. In my defense, I was getting there. So, and even with the stuff with him and Roman, I more so find it funny than me being oh, I'm on this side. Obviously, Roman's my guy. It is what it is. But I don't really have a side. I'm just like, Roman, you're an idiot, dog. How the writing was on the wall. You thought Paul was going to say no. So to see Punk live after this long journey we've had to me finally becoming a fan, it's quite nice, quite nice. He got a really good pop. I'm just sitting here singing Culture Personality at the top of my lungs, and then I go, damn, if Clarissa from 10 years ago could see us now, she'd be pissed.
She'd be confused.
She'd be like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing? Like, the whole time I'm finna buy a Best in the World shirt. Like, Punk has pink merch.
He do.
You know,
though some of it is like,
well,
the Prosphere stuff.
I was
man.
gonna say it was the
Prosphere, dog. It ain't even just him. Like, put the pen down. Put the.
Somebody called him the Deaf Rebel of WWE merch, and you know
I
what?
was about to
say that.
It was
I
Aisha.
was about to say, like, yeah,
It was Aisha.
and they are. That's exactly.
And there were no lies told. Because, like,
Nope.
what goes on?
Because why does it feel like that?
Why does it
feel like that? Why does it look like that? Why does it fit like that?
Just why?
Bless KO's heart, but like, there's better Bret Hart hoodies, bro.
I think it's his comfort hoodie at this point. I think
you know what, real, but at the same time, why that one?
You know, good question. Because you wouldn't catch me. No, thank you. I'll take the regular shop merch, but not that.
You got to get the Roots of Fight one.
That I have the notification set up for when the Pink Punk, I think it's a hoodie, restocks, because I think I missed it the last time it restocked, because I was checked out mentally, so, and financially. But you know, it'd be like that. It's expensive like being a wrestling fan.
It is.
Shows are expensive. Merch is expensive. You gotta travel. Like, it's expensive.
That's part
but that expense is expensive.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about your recent live event trips and ours, because we got to talk about these ticket prices.
Spooky.
Because I mean, they were expensive back in the day for that time. To put into perspective, I went to my first wrestling live event January of 2011. I went to my last one during that time in July of 2013. In that time, I went to probably like 2 house shows, 2, I'll say pay-per-view because they were pay-per-views at the time, which were Survivor Series 2011 and TLC 2012. And then I attended a Raw. This was Raw at the Barclays Center, summer of 2013. Those tickets, for the most part, ranged in the 150 to 200 or so range for where me and Vio were seated this past month for Raw.
Yep.
I think those similarly where you, Clarissa, and Janae sat for when you went to SmackDown, around that area. Now, those tickets are like
spooky.
500 at least a seat.
Spooky.
Yeah, we couldn't sit because where we sat last time, which was really close to the ring, we weren't on the floor, but we were like right off of it. It was, I believe it was like 170, 180-ish per ticket. This time, those tickets were close to 300. And then the aisle where Jay walked in at was 500 and 600.
Yeah,
which is why, and I mean, we still had pretty decent seats though, and we stayed under 200. But I remember telling them like that even the seats that we were in 3 years ago, I took my mom to SmackDown, sat in that exact same area for what I paid for one ticket now. I've never been to a PLE because PLEs are so expensive. I'm trying to get to Backlash though, like, because those tickets aren't that bad. They're like a little higher than normal, which is really good for now. But they're making it really hard for the average wrestling fan. Like, it's not the people like Green Shirt Guy who's gonna be there no matter what, but like the regular wrestling fan or the regular wrestling parent whose kid loves wrestling and wants to go see these people, they're making it so hard for them to be able to be close. They have to sit like at the very top, and even nosebleeds are now like what, $60-$80 at this point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what
Not
happened
even
to, like,
higher than that.
yeah, like what happened to $20-$30 tickets
If you want to go to Mania, you paying 1,000 plus to sit with the
to sit
Father,
next,
Son, and the Holy
you
Spirit. Like
know?
You know?
That's why I'm not going. I
and you
couldn't do
can't,
it.
Spooky.
I
you
couldn't do
can't,
it.
because like there's house shows, there's the televised shows, there's PLEs, and then you have. I don't even consider Mania or SummerSlam in that PLE tier because the
There's
PLEs
so
are
much more than
crazy,
that,
but
yeah.
those are even.
Insane.
Spooky.
Through the
And so
roof.
we're gonna try to get to SummerSlam, but that's why like I'm more so set in my heart to do the week of events that'll be in the area for SummerSlam more so
Yeah.
than I am going to the show itself. We're gonna try. If not, we're gonna go to the superstore to kick off and meet and greets and all that, and then we'll chill either at Haley's or in an Airbnb or whatever and watch the show together and have a ball if we
Yep.
can't get in. But it's sad. It's unfortunate. And I don't even think it's really the roster or who's there either, because I've been to shows like Survivor Series 2011. The main event of that show was John Cena and The Rock in a tag team. You had CM Punk contending for and winning the WWE Championship. Mind you, this is Madison Square Garden. There's been shows that I've been to where the roster was stacked or big names were scheduled to be there, and it still wasn't egregious. Um, and so it's sad to think that people who like Vio, you're going to shows for the first time this year. Will you ever go to a PLE, or like will I ever get to experience that again? Did I miss out on my chance to go to a Mania or a SummerSlam or like one of the other three of the big four? Um,
Yeah.
it's because like those are bucket list things for me. I've always wanted to see a Rumble. I've always
Same.
wanted to go, especially SummerSlam. Like that usually falls. That's always in August. There's times where SummerSlam has fell on my birthday, but even asking for that as like a birthday gift or like treating myself to that for my birthday feels ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's unreasonable.
It is. It's sad too. I mean, I don't know if it's just the growing popularity, if it's the rising prices for everything else. I don't know, but at this point, I don't know who they think they are, but I am not Miss Moneybags. Okay, I ain't got
Mm-mm.
it. I ain't got it.
Mm-mm.
So I'll just have the best seat in the house and watch at home
You know?
for now. For
That's all
now.
you can do.
For now. But I'm getting the
It's the way I
backlash
wanted to
one
go
way
see
or another.
Cody at.
I gotta get the
This is the way I
backlash.
want to go see Cody Fanatics, but he's almost like
Cody thinks
$200.
he's
Like, who do you
Beyonce.
think you are?
Cody.
Cody think he Beyonce.
He
I
does.
need him to not.
I mean,
$200 for a picture, bro.
Mind you, Undertaker is also like $230 for photo ops. But then again, that's Undertaker. Undertaker don't be outside no more. Cody's still here. Why the hell you almost $200?
I do want to say though, I do want to take this time
Oh Lord.
to shade a certain someone because Hulk Hogan.
uh
Oh.
oh.
I it's just God is good sometimes, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like last year should have been the WWE's like that should have been when they started catching on to the fact that fans don't really fuck with Hogan anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because out of the 15 talents from WWE that were at Fanatics, Hulk Hogan is the only one that did not sell out his appearances. Even somebody like a Tiffany Stratton, who was new to the main roster, sold out. But not a legend like Hulk Hogan. And there were certain Hogan apologists, I'll call them, who were arguing that, oh, it's because he had the most expensive prices. I don't want to hear that anymore, because Austin for WWE World sold out completely. And that man was charging upwards of almost $400 a ticket.
I thought it was in the thousands.
So it's not the price that's keeping people from going to meet these folks, because if they want to do it, they're going to do it. They're going to drop whatever money they want to meet certain people. People just don't fuck with Hogan anymore. And I think,
Have they ever really?
unfortunately, there's been times where they do. But, and then on top of that, they recently had to pull his entire Mania on location experience because I guess not enough people were purchasing.
Oops.
Don't
Oh,
you
well.
just love it? Don't you just love it when
Oh
Hulk
well, too
Hogan is
bad.
still,
Bye, Rocco.
he's just living in the past. He still thinks he's that guy, and he's just his big thing. And
He
like,
ain't.
nobody.
Bret Hart ate him up though the other day on Ariel Helwani because Bret basically, you didn't see the clip, Clarissa?
I didn't see it.
Okay,
Now I gotta go find it.
So Ariel showed a clip of Punk talking about Bret for a Roots of Fight promotion. So Roots of Fight does these little sit-down interviews with talent that they have clothing lines for, and they have them talk about somebody else that's a part of the clothing line.
Okay.
And so they had Punk do one for Bret. Of course, giving glowing reviews, comments, whatever on Bret. And then Bret afterwards said, I appreciate you showing me that, because recently, it was shared to me that Hogan had, said some things about me along the lines of, the problem with Bret is that he still believes he was the best wrestler of all time. And then Bret was like, if you really look at these young cats and these people today, they're copying my style. They're paying homage to me. They're coming out with the gears inspired by me and what I did. Ain't nobody doing that for you. When you really
I was about to say,
about
when was the last time somebody did that for
he's
Hulk
right.
Hogan?
When's the last time somebody had Hulk Hogan inspired gear, biting Hulk Hogan's, style in ring or whatever, especially like not as a joke, like not in a mocking way. I can't think of
get
it.
booed out the arena if they tried it. Cause get out.
So Bret is right. Like, maybe I am the greatest of all time, because all these folks, some of the biggest in the business, they look up to me. They pay homage to me. Who's doing that for you?
Nobody.
Clocked it. Hogan just needs to go sit down and just go
Go
right off into the
retire
sunset.
like Stone Cold did. Go live on a farm somewhere. Mind your business.
I'll get a cat or two. Like,
Yeah.
Now, why would you put those cats through that? Like, dang, Tony, you hate cats.
I love cats. I love cats.
It's the way I was talking to my mom, and because she was like, "Damn, Undertaker's really old." Because there was, before our actual NXT show, they were filming stuff for LFG, and I was taking pictures of Undertaker, and she goes, "He's so old." I was like, "Yeah, he is old, Mom." But she's like, "But Hulk Hogan looks the same." I was like, "Yeah, because that man been looking deep fried since the beginning." That man been deep fried. Like, it gets to a point. Is all I'm gonna say. It gets to a point.
Up.
I will say for NXT, I was a little disappointed because I'm not huge on Taker, or at least I'm not anymore as much as I used to be. However, when I heard he was going to be at NXT, I was like, ooh, I'm going to hear the gong for the first time.
It was the American Badass theme, bro.
He didn't come out to that song.
The way me and Tony were sitting there waiting for that gong to go off. I had the camera
ready for the gong. And then the American Badass theme, I put the cat. You know that clip when they were like, oh, a world heavyweight champion is gonna show up on the show, and it was Jinder Mahal, and they got that guy in the audience like immediately put the camera down. It was that.
He was like, "Oh, I'm ready to feel the chills go up my arm." The goddamn American Badass theme came on. Me and Tony were just like, "Well."
And then American Badass theme, he walked out. He didn't even come out on a bike, bro.
I just feel like if he's gonna play the theme, it has to be on a bike. You can't walk to that theme. Like,
no,
you
you
gotta
gotta
have the
be
bike.
on the bike.
You have to bend it up. You
So,
gotta
like,
have the bike.
0 for 2.
Damn.
Oh,
I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's all right. But
I'm like this close to buying that man's photo op tickets to be like, why the hell didn't you come out to the gong?
No, just imagine his face. He would be like, "What?
How do you know that?"
press him. Yeah.
He's gonna be like, "Why do you know about that?" I was like,
I will say though, to finish up with the live events section of this episode, to anybody, because the amount of times that, especially in the group, y'all have said like, I went to the show and Roman wasn't there. Like, and I'm like, y'all, if you want Roman to show up, just invite me to the show at this point, because every
literally,
time I go, the man him and The Rock.
I'm never
Catch
forgetting.
those
I'm
two
so glad
without
Dwayne didn't
fail.
pop up when we went.
I catch those two without fail.
Oh,
Every time.
I'm
and
hating. I'm hating.
like, honestly, just make sure I'm there at this point.
No, because how did I go to the go home show of Bad Blood? Literally the night before Bad Blood. You have a match with Cody against the Bloodline, and you ain't even show up. Boy, nope. I'll fight you right now. I'll fight you right now.
This is the way I went into the Raw we went to, being like, Roman's probably not going to show up. And then we saw him running through the crowd, and I was like, oh!
Mind you, they did nothing they did nothing to hide it.
No.
And
put a spotlight on that man immediately.
Because people watching at home were like, oh, the crowd got really loud all of a sudden. And for some people, like, at home, it was like, oh, it ruined the fact that Roman showed up. Like, you knew for like that 10 seconds before he was going to show up. The thing is, they tried to hide it with the camera angle focusing strictly on Seth, but at the show,
they shined the spotlight on
out. Boom! Spotlight followed him running through. Like,
they wanted y'all to tell us he was there, because whole time, as soon as I heard the cheer, because I don't think I heard OTC. I just heard them start yelling. We all just like, when I tell you, I literally looked at my boyfriend and was like, Roman's here. He was like, you think so? I said, I know so. Boom. Like, it was very obvious. But, and like, here's the thing. Roman only shows up in one of two ways. Either like that or with the music. So either way, we were going to know Roman was coming before Roman fully came. So I can't, that one didn't ruin it for me. I was like, oh, here he comes. What is he going to do? Like,
y'all got the funniest angle of him grabbing Seth out that cage. Like, we did not get that.
Honestly, that's how we need to be getting Haley, to be honest with you.
Just not the Haley shot.
No.
That's how we pull Haley back when she starts saying, like, oh, I saw this and this is what's happening. Oh, perfect example last night. Britt Baker got released.
Here's the way I saw it too before she said it, because I was obviously scrolling Twitter while we were on live, as everyone does. But this is the way I saw it before she posted it, and I looked at it again, like looked at the account again, because I was like, hell, because I was about to tweet something, be like, Hunter, don't you dare pick up that phone, and then I saw it came from Wessel Votes, and I was like, oh, never mind. Haley, don't be doing that.
She's just my poor little summer child, okay?
That's why I said, I was just like, please just double check your sources next time. That's all I ask.
My little
just,
baby,
like, read it again. Hi, Haley.
She's
love
gonna watch.
You, Dad.
She's just it's so adorable. Dad. It's so adorable because it's every time it's always Haley. Just like the one spoiler, and Haley like just dropped it in the group and was like, "What the fuck is this?" We were like, "Haley, why would you do that?"
And then it was later in the show too. Like, it happened later in the show. It wasn't like.
And I mean, now on that one, in her defense, you know, it was a little confusing, but it's just funny. It's just,
you know, I should be wanting to do that because she be doing too much for Aisha
last night.
That's why I should be blocking her.
Oh, I love the block.
This is what, twice Haley been blocked now?
Pretty sure it's three. It's just twice in recent times.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's happened before. I can't remember when, but I know like it's happened before these last
Because I know
two.
she blocked all of us on the FemSlam page because of Haley. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was last night.
There was one other one, and I can't remember what it was. I'll have to find it. I'll find it. And
It's one of three instances. Haley says something out of pocket. Haley spoiled or said something that wasn't confirmed by the right sources, or Haley logged into CapCut.
No, yeah,
Canva.
CapCut and or Canva.
Or
I
Canva.
love the Canva edits though.
How did she make that video with us? Anyway,
I'm gonna go find and repost that video actually, because Toni said, "Why do I look like Where's Waldo?"
I did. Oh, and it
Oh
was, and I know that she cropped that out of my punk picture.
gosh. Hey,
That was my punk picture from Fanatics
Indeed.
last year.
hey, guess what though?
Indeed.
It was a beautiful edit. Beautiful.
It was funny.
10 out of
No,
10.
the one of her of Aisha and Braun.
And so before Aisha blocks us, we're going.
I'm sorry, Aisha. I'm sorry,
Moving
Aisha.
on.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna get blocked.
It was funny though.
So the final really big thing that I wanted us to get into here. So Women's History Month just came to a close.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that we didn't get an episode out during the month itself, but I wanted to do something in honor of Women's History Month since it just ended. And since we also talk AEW on here and we have Clarissa with us, I wanted to speak about the Toni Storm and Mariah May feud because not only have we been enjoying it, but Clarissa has expressed interest, intrigue, if you will, in that feud. And Clarissa, as she stated earlier, does not watch really anything outside of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes to show how good and how impactful this story has been that somebody who has never watched AEW before is aware of this story, and it's that story that's making them or drawing them to the AEW product. I think that really highlights, like, you know, how good the work is that these women have been doing.
Man.
So Clarissa, what are your feelings on what many are saying is one of, if not the greatest women's feud of all time?
I have seen clips because honestly, I think it was Vio the very first time I saw something of them, and it was Mariah doing something to Toni, and I was like, what's happening here? Like, what's going on? And I was like, hold on, wait, they have my attention a little bit. And then Toni came back as just Toni Storm, right? You know, the rocker hair look. And I was like, okay, I guess Toni is done with being timeless, whatever. And so then I zoned out again. And then I saw the clip of Toni like, oh, did you really think it was that easy or whatever she said? And she was like unveiling that she was still timeless Toni and da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they did the segment where they were talking backstage, and when I tell you, like, y'all know my memory's bad, I can't remember what Mariah was saying, but like she was just going in, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I should have watched this, but I could tell from the way everyone was talking about it that they were coming to the end, and I was like, that's perfect, because once it ends, I can go back and watch from the very beginning, watch the feud from beginning to end, see what was going on, see how much it catches me. And then I saw the pictures and clips of that last match, and it's just red, just red, just bloody, just violent. And there's like a picture of them from like overhead with one of, I guess, Toni laying over Mariah's body, and was like, damn, from the way everyone is talking about this feud, from the way people are talking about these matches, this may be something that I actually need to pay attention to. And it's not the first time I've seen what's going on in AEW. I mean, again, Vio posts about Mox all the time. I see that. Like, I saw the thing in the back, and yeah, okay, you know, like little too far off my freak, you know, like, but that's cool. Like, I mean, that is what he enjoys to do. I respect it. It's just my skin.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
It's not for and everybody. I think I could probably watch the match, but like just seeing it like in his back, I was like, oh shit, Told y'all I have Jeff
I
trauma.
couldn't watch it either.
It's my Jeff trauma. It's my Jeff trauma. I can't see it. But seeing those two women and hearing what everyone is saying about them, and the fact that I've heard so many times that it is the greatest women feud of all time. Like, most people are calling it the absolute greatest. Like, no questions asked. They're calling it the most important. They were calling it one of the most important feuds in AEW history. I'm intrigued. I need to see, like, what were they doing? Because this wasn't like a short feud either. This went for at least like what, a year and a half, maybe.
This has been
Around that,
for a
yeah.
while because for a long time before the two of them were feuding,
They were friends or
they were
mentor.
like like a mentor
Okay, okay.
mentee type thing.
Yeah, I think that from the little bit I know, the story is laid out perfectly, from mentor mentee to then the student becoming the teacher and being like, haha, I got over on you. Now I'm that bitch. I'm taking over. And then the mentor having to show, like, hey, I didn't, you may have learned a lot, but I didn't teach you everything I know. Kind of vibe. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's just something about the two of them that, from all the clips that I've seen, that I'm like, I need to sit down and watch this feud. And Mads found me a video that details from the beginning to a certain point. And while it doesn't show all the matches, Mads says it's not hard for me to like figure out how to go like find it, because like the dates are there or
Yeah.
something. And so I only haven't watched it because I've been running around the last month because of personal stuff. Like, y'all know what's been going on. Because I was gonna watch it. Wow, like that weekend where I had to go to Memphis, like that was in my plans. Like, I am sitting down, I am watching this feud because I really want to see what's going on with these two. But it's okay, because once Mania season passes, we're gonna be locked in, and I'll let y'all know
Yep.
my thoughts on the feud as a whole. But it looks like these two women have taken over a lot. Like,
They have.
they've taken over. Like, they're being talked about in the way that you would talk about a Roman and Seth feud type of
Yep.
thing. Like, they are being highly praised. They're being bringing eyes to the product, because like y'all know, I don't watch AEW, and it's not for tribalism, none of that. It's too many shows to watch. I ain't got time. I don't have time. I'm not staying up to 2 a.m. to watch your show. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I need sleep. But them, for a second there, I was willing to tune into AW Weekly, like, just to see what was going on. But like I said, they were at the end of the feud, and I didn't want to come in not knowing how we got to this point, how we got to how violent and volatile their relationship was. And so I have to watch it from the beginning, because just like the Bloodline, I love a compelling story. I love a story that has layers, that over time you just watch how these two people evolve and change and grow. And I feel like that's what happened between these two. And yeah, I'm gonna watch that. For sure.
So, I guess Vio, as somebody who's been on the opposite end, following this feud since the start,
Pretty much, yeah.
how do you feel about the way that it's unfolded? Do you think, is there anything that they didn't do that you wish they did, or do you think they completely like knocked it out of the park on all
Yeah, I think
cylinders?
I think they knocked it out of the park. I don't think their story could have been told in a better way than how they already did it. Cause like Tony's amnesia thing and like pulling that one over Mariah, beautiful. Cause Mariah's face when she turned around and realized that Tony was still being Timeless Tony Storm. Hang it up. Hang that up in every museum across the world. Okay? The Louvre ain't enough. All of them. Like, their story, like, the way they went from being so, like, closely intertwined as, like, mentor mentee to them falling out to the way they literally did have a Hollywood ending. That story could not have been told any better way. It truly could not have. I don't think there's anything that they could have done to. I mean, sure. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything else they could have done that would have really changed how it came out. Just those two women have so much personal history together, and they are just such phenomenal storytellers, especially with each other. So yeah, as someone who has been following them from the beginning, it is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, there is nothing that they didn't do that I would have liked to see them do. But I think they hit every mark that I would have wanted them to hit with their storyline.
Yeah, I agree. And the more that I think about it, the more disappointed I am that they didn't main event that show.
Yeah,
They didn't main event
yeah,
Revolution. And I think the show, after that match, the show was over, to be
pretty
honest.
much.
I hate to say that because I know the main event involved Mox,
It's okay.
but
It's all right.
that match did not compare to what those women
No,
did that night.
no.
Um, and I'm hoping that if anything, that performance woke Tony Khan up a little bit, and going forward, he puts faith in the women on his roster to close out a show of that caliber going forward. Especially someone who isn't just Mercedes. I feel like at this point, the only women that I could see him putting in the main event of a show is Mercedes with
Yeah,
whoever she's fighting. But I think that needs to be extended to the other woman on your roster, especially when
Willow
you
Nightingale, Chris
know that
Devon.
people are deeming this feud or putting this feud on such a high pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
Have more faith in your women's division. And I'm not saying that WWE doesn't have the same problem. We literally have that problem going into Mania. But I'm saying the women on the AEW roster are currently telling the best stories for women in wrestling right now. So TK has more of a reason to, like, there's no reason why. You can't tell me that, oh, well, the women are great as far as like the in ring, but the story is not great, or the fan engagement or the investment is not there. They're checking off every box. So there's no reason why those women should not have main evented that show.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but we are going to wrap this up, but we're going to do something different from the OG pod as we did our last episode. Instead of doing fetch of the week, since we're kind of, I guess, deemed the real Graps side of the Slam podcast, um, we end off each episode with male and female wrestler of the week, as well as your match of the week. So, Vio, why don't we start with you?
Okay. Match of the week. Damn, a lot of good matches have happened. Actually, you know what? Match of the week, that mixed tag match between Mox, Marina, Willow, and Swerve. That was beautiful. Beautiful. I can't wait for when we actually get Willow versus Marina. I'm waiting on that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it happens, because if it don't, I'll knock everything over right now. As for my wrestlers of the week, male wrestler, Ricky Saints. Obviously, your new NXT North American champion. Love that. I guess also female wrestler will have to be Stephanie, because well, because we did get two belts, Stephanie, even if it was for a little bit, and I do understand why they're having her vacate that title. I know a lot of people are mad that she's vacating that title, but like NXT has too good of a women's division to let both titles be held by one woman for an extended period of time. I'm not saying Stephanie doesn't deserve to have two belts. She absolutely does.
Hmm.
But like the rest of the women on that roster deserve their shot to have a title run or even just a shot at the title in general. So yeah. Those are mine for the week.
Clarissa.
Hmm. For match of the week, I'm actually gonna give it to Judgment Day versus Braun and Penta.
Hmm.
Only because I was so shook by how well of a team Penta and Braun actually made. Like those two worked amazingly well together. Like you would think those who have known each other for years and years and years, worked matches together, did all these things. Like I thought that they worked so well. And honestly, there wasn't too many matches on Raw and SmackDown that really just like don't get me wrong, like Ray Phoenix had an amazing debut also. Like it was great. But I think I'm gonna go with Finn, Dom. I'm sorry, Finn. And
No,
Penta
you're
and Braun.
not.
I am. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Um now this is the hard part. For the women's wrestler of the week, I'm only gonna go with Bianca because they pissed me off so much in that match. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you slapped the ref and you thought the match was gonna keep going? First of all, the match should have ended right there. Should have been done. But she kept going. Then got a double kick, and then y'all mad she ended the match. No, no, no. Shouts to Bianca for that. I would have given it to Naomi if this was last week because that proceed with caution promo vignette she did was absolutely amazing. But she ain't talking enough for me this week. Um, for the men, I'm probably gonna give it to Punk just for last night for the delivery last night, the way he worded the favor, the way he made sure Roman knew that this was a straight shot at his heart. Love that. I can't give it to Roman because my baby
How
on a
did you not see this
he on
coming?
an egotistical run. He not thinking
Yeah.
straight. He was being real cocky. He was being real mean. He was a little mean. Like it was a little mean. Be nice, play nicely. Um, and then Seth was just there, so I can't do much with him either. Um, also honorary mention Jimmy Uso.
Rest in peace.
That's all I'm gonna say. Honorary mention to Jimmy Uso because baby, you did what needed to be done. I'm so sorry, but thank you. So yeah, I think
Hopefully your brother capitalizes.
he if Monday I don't see Gunther being dragged all through that ring and
Or
Kaiser
Ludwig.
too while we at it, we're gonna have a problem. So yeah, I think those are gonna be mine.
Tony,
To
what you got?
piggyback a little bit before I give my answers, this is why. So if anybody wasn't in the live yesterday, I kind of harped a lot of bit on some of Roman's lines from the promo yesterday, and there was somebody in the chat that was like, "Why are we over analyzing this?" One, it's our job, but two, the reason why those lines, well, I focused so much on them was because I was going to make the point. We got sidetracked, so I didn't get to the point that as Roman continued to talk, the choice became a lot easier for Paul to make. Is essentially what I was getting at. I understand that the dynamic between Paul and Roman honestly goes back further than the dynamic between Roman and Punk because of Paul's relationship with the family and the Samoan dynasty. However, when we're going off of strictly what's on screen, when you compare the dynamic that Punk and Paul had when they were working together to the dynamic with Roman and Paul, you're looking at two people who see each other as equals and more so friends, and then two people who you have one who sees himself as he's above the other and he talks down to Paul a lot. And a lot of the time it comes across that Paul is with Roman or sticking by Roman, sometimes borderline out of fear. And there are times where Roman expects people, not just Paul, like everybody else in the family to always be there for him, but he does not extend that same courtesy to them when they are in a time of need. And so, keeping that in mind, and the fact that Paul earlier in the night, in the first segment that opened the show, reiterated everything that happened during that period where Roman seemingly deserted him, that on top of the way Roman started speaking to him when he wanted him to decline Punk's favor, made the decision all that much easier for Paul. And that's why I was like, Roman, stop talking. Stop talking. That's where I was getting at last night. But I'm liking, I'll give an honorable mention to Punk for Wrestler of the Week just because the way that he's carrying himself is the way that I hoped he carried himself going into this feud, because it's very much like Roman's met his match in terms of pettiness and that feeling of like, because Punk ain't scared of Roman. Punk's not intimidated by Roman. Should he be? I guess if we're comparing, like, size and status, especially if we were talking about Roman with a tribe as opposed to Roman now, I would say Punk has reason to be intimidated. But he's carrying himself like he don't give a damn, and I'm here for it. But moving on from that, my actual wrestler of the week has to be Ricky Saints. Um, Not only because he won the North American title, but that match was fantastic. He gave his all. And you got a banger out of Sean Spears, of all people. Like, oh my god. That's crazy. But yeah, I am so happy for Ricky. Uh it's it did get thwarted a little bit. The celebration did not um hit, it was not in full effect. It got interrupted. But I'm excited because Ethan was the first person that popped in my mind when thinking about the potential feuds that Ricky could have, because they both have that same level of charisma and they're both fantastic in ring and on the mic. So I'm very excited, and I think that matchup is very stand and deliver worthy. I'm very excited. I'm gonna give a second honorable mention to the men because Damian Priest, Damian Priest, that promo last night. I wish they had let him cut it in the ring instead of a pre-recorded vignette. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. Made perfect sense. No holes in his argument whatsoever. The delivery was fantastic. I need people to lay off Damian Priest. Y'all keep the Damian Priest hate train that we've gotten in recent months after people seemingly started to get behind him during his world title run. Like, I'm so lost. It's so undeserved. But the man keeps going out there and showing y'all, I can do this. I can do this. So yeah, I have to give Damian his tens for that promo last night. Women's wrestler of the week is gonna go to Willow Nightingale. I enjoyed the tag match. I enjoyed Willow's involvement and what she brought to the story more. She was the highlight of the match for me. She had the best spots. She took a nasty bump through that
Crazy.
table. I know that was an accident on Marina's part for not executing the power bomb, as well as they were hoping, but Willow is a trooper. And then eating that nasty DDT from Mox, bro.
Yeah.
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 Especially with the whole like she has neck issues already, and the way that that's incorporated into the story with Swerve saying, that's how much of a monster you are when talking to Mox. You not only did you put your hands on this woman, period, but you attacked her and hurt her neck knowing that she already has previous neck issues. That's how much of an evil motherfucker you are.
Yeah,
And you will be dealt with.
I saw that video. I did see that.
No, I'm aware he's evil and he will be dealt with, and Swerve will be the one to deal with it. Like, I love Mox. Love Mox bad. I love it even more when he gets his ass handed to him. Like, because you can't be doing this type of shit and getting away with it. You can't. You can't. And so, yes, I love Mox, but I am on Team Swerve. I'm ready for that title to be gone.
Please, God, because it can't be Darby Allin.
Like, Darby Allin's gonna be gone for like 2 months.
He still ain't climbed that mountain.
Nope. He's still in line. There's a line for Mount Everest. Did you know that, Clarissa? There is a line. You have to wait in a queue to climb Mount Everest. This man left, what, 2-3 months ago?
And he still ain't?
He still ain't
He climbs on the 15th of this month.
And it takes about 2 months to climb for an inexperienced climber, which Darby is.
Is there a reason he decided to do this? Like,
he just felt like it.
Oh.
It's a fuck it, we ball.
You know what? On par from what I've seen of him. Very, very Darby. Yeah, okay. I mean, you wouldn't see me doing it, but I did not realize that enough people wanted to climb Mount Everest for there to be a queue. But I guess that's for safety concerns also. Okay.
Because they were setting it up for Darby Allin's going to be the one to take the title off of Mox. And then he goes to leave to climb Mount Everest. And that's why we got Mox and Adam Copeland for like way too long. Way too long. But now we've pivoted to Mox and Swerve, which I'm grateful for because I know those two are going to put on some banger matches. We saw it in that tag match. They might kill each other tomorrow on Dynasty. We'll see. But I know those two are going to put on some amazing matches, and I'll forget all about Mox and Adam Copeland.
My goat's washed, bro.
Your goat is very washed. Your goat didn't want to do spots during Revolution. I need you to talk to him.
That ain't my business anymore. But yeah, so those are our men's and women's wrestlers of the week and our matches of the week. We're gonna wrap this up now. Thank you so much to Clarissa for joining us on this episode.
We really enjoyed
me. Yes, we really enjoyed having you a part of this conversation. And let everybody know your socials, where to find you, what you got coming up, what you just dropped. You just dropped the YouTube video. I did see that.
I did a Naomi Agenda YouTube video recently. About to do a video about SmackDown. So by the time you hear this podcast, that'll be out. And then there's also a WrestleMania My Favorite Entrances video, just to recap some of the best entrances, because it's one of my favorite parts of Mania is seeing just how cinematic
a lot of good Mania entrances.
There's a lot of good ones. So we're going to talk about some of those. You can find me at, I think it's Charismatic C, CEE, on TikTok and YouTube, and then Charismatic C _ on Twitter. That's where I be with these two lovely people causing a ruckus.
Not too much.
Hey, facts are facts. Facts are facts.
Yeah, if y'all only knew, because
I think the way here's the problem though, because that was bad. But imagine me and Toni during this Roman and Punk feud. We got a whole summer of me and Toni at each other in every single live.
Oh no!
Y'all got a sneak peek a couple weeks ago. I'm not even going to. But the thing is, that wasn't even genuine. That was instigated. Like they were plotting. They were plotting.
And that was on Clarissa's exhaustion. She was tired.
That clip of like you couldn't wait for me to go to sleep. And I'm like, go to sleep.
No, because why would you do that when you knew I was going to sleep, Toni? You couldn't have waited. But no, I think the Toni versus Clarissa, Punk versus Roman feud will be the feud of the summer. This is gonna be very fun for us. Even though like I'll probably be real chill about it because like somebody got
I'm
to
gonna
teach
try to.
Roman a lesson at some point, dog.
You
I'm
know?
gonna. I'm gonna try to be chill. I'm gonna try to be chill.
Toni,
You won't, though.
Toni,
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
You try, but you won't.
you will fail, but it's okay.
Exactly.
I will remember that you were trying and appreciate that. Meanwhile, I'll be calling Roman out all the time because, like, bro, just
That's all
learn.
I ask. It's like sometimes y'all just don't be holding him accountable to the degree
Hey,
that I
man,
need you,
here's the thing. He don't
especially Kim,
listen.
especially
He
Kim
don't.
Jericho, bro.
Roman don't listen. Because
He
I don't know
don't.
if you remember when it was the Roman and Jay thing, and Roman was talking crazy to Jay, and I was like, yeah, whatever, like it's fine because we were on live that whole time. I was like, whatever, he, it's cool. Like he did it because of this, he did it because of this. Then he went out to that ring and said, I acknowledge you with like a real smart ass to Solo, and I was like, so you can say that to Solo, but you couldn't say I
But not
apologize
Jay.
to Jay. I went off. So like
he's such an ass.
he's an ass. I can't stand his little egotistical ass. Like I'm so sick of his shit. But Roman's gonna be Roman, and the thing is I believe in loving people at where they are.
Here she go.
You believe? Wait, correction. You believe at loving Roman at where he is.
You know what? No, because like Naomi,
Naomi's justified.
rights and wrong. Well,
Yep.
Bianca,
Mm-hmm.
Bianca ain't done nothing wrong.
also Io,
Yeah, because
Rights and wrongs.
somebody, I swear, somebody be Men in Black and Rhea. Because what do you mean, Bianca? Where were you?
her.
You kicked her out of the ring 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, I believe in, just accepting my people for exactly who they are. They will change when they see fit. And I'm hoping that this is the year of a new era for Roman because I am over the tribal chief era and I said it. I'm so sorry. I'm done. I'm done. Wrap it up. Let's do something else. He doesn't need to be the tribal chief anymore because now he only needs to be Roman Reigns. The name carries
Yeah, he
enough
should
weight.
stop being so damn hard headed.
Well,
that ain't changing.
he's still
but
Roman.
like,
But I think we'll see what happens. We'll see how this goes, and then maybe during this feud, Toni and Vio will have me back, so me and Toni can talk about
oh,
Roman
for sure.
and Punk.
We should do YouTube. A YouTube collab would be fantastic.
Ooh.
That'd be fun.
We gotta work on
Yeah,
ideas.
we're gonna have to figure that out. So it's won't be the last time I'm here, more than likely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vio, where could they find you? What do you have going on?
So I am editing or finishing editing that raw vlog that will
So
be up
sorry,
on.
beloved.
It's okay. It ain't your fault. But that'll be up on Tony's channel, and then the NXT one will be on my YouTube channel, which is at Viral Vio. I don't remember if that one has the numbers in it. Question mark? I don't remember. But if it does, it's Viral Vio with the I in Viral being a 1 and the O in Vio being a 0. It's the same way for Twitter and TikTok as well. And my Instagram, the way I don't remember anything, my Instagram is also the same way. So I think it's just that Viral Vio with the I and the 1 and the O and the 0 across all platforms.
And then as for me, I have TikTok, which I will plug since we got another 75 days. Yeah. But TikTok is Pepsi.plunge. Instagram is heel_Toni with 2 eyes. X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is at Punker Tony. The doors are locked, but most of the time, if you're in the community, you're supporting whatever, I let you in. That's just me protecting my peace. And then YouTube, I finally got my YouTube kickstarted under the name 8-bit punk. That's 8 dash bit, capital B, punk. I came up with that name as a way to incorporate gaming and wrestling into one. That is what the channel will be. And a Q&A is up. I posted that last week. And so go check that out if you're interested. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for the continued support for not only the B-Sides pod, but the pod and the rest of the team in general. Our OGs dropped a episode 3 or 4.
Your guess is as good as mine. We
They
dropped the
dropped an
episode.
episode this past Wednesday. Please go check that out. As always, we do our Sunday Vibes and Wrestling over on TikTok on Aisha's account. We will be getting back on tomorrow. That will be a very interesting conversation given what has happened this past week.
Mhm.
And yeah, this will also be up on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube when we get the chance to edit it for it to go up. So, but yeah, thank you everybody for supporting us, and Femline out.
Bye.